What's going on, everybody? What's up, Dusty? Hey, Christine. Hey, Jerry. Y'all hear me all right? Thanks, Jerry. Well, things are getting interesting, aren't they? Hey, Annie, good to see you. Bear with me 1 second here. Hey, Oki. Bear with me 1 second. I just got to take care of something right quick. On the roofing industry, so I've been kind of busy. Hey, Prep, good to see you. Hey, Shift. Hey, Lisa. I've been kind of busy. We had a hailstorm pop through here, so I've been sort of busy with that. So just bear with me 1 sec here. But yeah, we had a hailstorm come through here, and it pretty much battered one part of town, several towns actually. So you got to make hay while the sun's shining. All right. Well, as you can see for yourselves, it's hey Lee, good to see you. It is turning into an absolute dicey situation in Ukraine, and by what I mean by that is everything is on the line for Vlad right now. I think Lee can tell you, Lee being Cold War prepper, if you don't know, everything is on the line for Vlad right now. And there's a lot of people high-fiving and grandstanding that they repelled the Russians and all this stuff, but I don't think this thing is even close to being done. I think it's getting ready to get quite a bit more violent. I think that, hey, Bill, good to see you. I think that you are about to see a lot of ordnance drop into Kyiv and other populated areas, because I think Vlad is in a position right now where he's gone too far. I don't think he can turn around. I think his legacy, if you will, is on the line. Apparently, if the rumors are true, Russia has taken a serious hit when it comes to loss of lives. And I don't think that he is going to just say, okay, well, they rebuffed us, we're coming home. I don't think that's going to happen. Hey, Sunset. Hey, Kicking It. Hey, Shift. I think failure for him is not an option. I mean, by some of the stuff I've seen going on, I mean, this guy might end up in the Hague if he's not careful. And I don't think he's going to let that happen. I don't think he's going to go anywhere to have a meeting. I think he's paranoid. I think that he is, a cornered bear or badger, whatever you want to call him. Hey, Liberty, good to see you. I hear you, Liberty. Me too. But I don't think this thing is even close to being. I don't think we're even a third of the way in. There's no question that there is about to be a bog down in Kyiv because of the amount of weapons on the street and the fact that apparently he had to go ask Kazakhstan for some reinforcements. And they said, no, we're good. There's a lot of things floating around, of course. There's a lot of bad intel going around. There's a lot of hyperbole. There's a lot of rhetoric and propaganda. I would just be very careful about what I believe right now and just go by what you see or what instead of what you hear, what are you seeing, Apparently, they're cracking down. Russia's cracking down on protests. Obviously, we've seen some of that. And then also social media. Apparently, they're flipping the switch on a lot of that stuff where it's just dark. You're not able to communicate on any of the social platforms. But yeah, censorship excessively and excessive arrests apparently are taking place. Not only that, but he's ratcheting up the rhetoric against other NATO allies, not NATO members, but NATO allies. Finland and Sweden, I think, are the two that he has come out and said, you go ahead and try to join NATO, you're going to get some of this too. So I guess the reason I wanted to come on here was just to, everybody tap the brakes on getting high, excited about Russia being done, because I don't think that that's even close to being the truth. I think it's going to get more dangerous, I think, by the hour. Not by the day, by the hour. Because apparently these underground pockets of resistance fighters are giving the Russians all they want. And then some. When you start seeing the body bags pile up, Russians are gonna have an issue with that back home. I haven't heard about a POW count or anything, but like y'all, you probably heard about them the Ukrainians downing two large transport aircraft. And that's probably 400 personnel that went down right there. And hey, Rise and Shine, good to see you. But yeah, I don't think this thing is even close to being wrapped up. And if you start talking about an airspace control issue, you may have some superiority battles between NATO and the Russians as well. And I don't know. It's just I don't and not only what's going on in this particular zone, but what's going on in the East. Asia's a real powder keg as well. And the window, if it starts to look like the window's closing, you might want to seriously think about hunkering down here. Hmm. So it's a very, very dicey situation. And I'm proud of the Ukrainians for standing up. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm rooting for them. Hey, TH2. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, Bob. Hey, Goblin. It's refreshing to see people, have some intestinal fortitude and say, you know what, we're outgunned and we're outmanned, but we're going to give you all the hell you want. And Putin's not going to turn around. I don't think so. I mean, the stuff that I've seen going on by his troops, just what I've seen on TV. I mean, like running over the car. I mean, this might be stuff that you know. This might lead to stuff, by troops, in violation of this and that, and his ass might end up in the Hague if he's not careful. So I don't think he's going to let that happen. Hey, off the wall, good to see you. But yeah, yeah, you're probably right about that, Jerry. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, Liberty. To be quite honest with you. Exactly. He's not going to let that. He's not going to let this thing. He's not going to let this thing. Just go home. We're done. I don't see that happening. I mean, he's laid it all out on the line unnecessarily, and he's probably come too far to turn back. Because if his people think that they can get at him, his goose is cooked. Apparently, he's a real hypochondriac and he's paranoid about going anywhere and this and that. He's sort of sounds to me like he may be melting down internally based on some of the stuff I've read and heard. Of course, you got to be careful what you listen to. But if he throws these thermobaric rockets in there, you're talking about unbelievable, unbelievable amount of devastation. Apparently, it melts everything, starting with your lungs, kind of like a high-powered white phosphorus round. That's what I understand. But yeah, off the wall is right. Stack it, keep stacking it. I was at the store today and they were full as can be. But like always, it's the little people that pay the price. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not even really talking about that part of it, Jerry. I'm just dealing with it right now with a takeover of Ukraine militarily. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just I'm not even thinking about it right now like that. I mean, I think that from him saying what he said about the reasoning he went in, I don't necessarily disagree with the concern that he has for sure, and it's a real deal. We would have a problem with that, Cuba or Venezuela or Mexico for sure. Um, and why we couldn't work something out um, on that end with him is certainly a question to be answered by the current potato in chief. Why do we have a problem why do we have a problem not agreeing to eliminate the possibility of putting ordnance in there? I think that he does have some concerns there, but I also think that we're not a true threat to Russia. I mean, we could be if we had the right things in place, the right policies in place, but we've got our own problems domestically, and I think the desperation is starting to show through in Vlad's case because he took a very drastic measure that it was a roll of the dice, and it's not over yet. Like I said, I think that he's willing to go all out with this thing, or all in, if you will. Yeah, I heard something where Tato was thinking about trying to ask Border Patrol to volunteer to go to Europe and help these people with their border crossings. I mean, like, are you serious? Actually, matter of fact, Simon sent me an email about that. That's where it was. Yeah, he was apparently, if you believe this article, asking our Border Patrol agents if they would be willing to go to Europe to help with their border situations due to the refugees. Yeah, I agree with that, TH2. I believe that, Liberty. It's a mess. Like I said, I don't trust any of them. I'm just saying, my thing today is that I just think that I don't think he's going to tuck tail and go home if he gets rebuffed enough. I think he's going to go all in and he's going to level the place. That's what I think. I could be wrong, of course. But, talk is one thing and action's another. Yeah, that's right, Alan. It's a damn shame, but I think he's desperate. And I don't know what the casualty count is. It's hard to get good information, It's hard to get reliable information, it seems, and the internet's still working in Ukraine. They're still, they're able to do phone interviews with people, on live TV. So something definitely seems fishy about it. Maybe the Russian military is having second thoughts themselves. Because, I mean, we haven't even gotten involved yet, and it seems like they're having a few roadblocks. Well, the Army, the military had a program for non-U.S. citizens that I think if you did 3 or 4 years, you could move to the front of the line to become a U.S. citizen. I know that was in place when I was in the Army. APW 77. And of course, welcome to anybody that I may have missed earlier coming in. I appreciate you all coming on short notice. Please definitely like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all's input and continued viewership and involvement. Yep. I don't really have a problem with that as long as they're, can pass the security clearances and stuff. Big time, rise and shine, big time. And I wonder, I bet it was Hill Country. Hey, CJ. Not too bad so far. Gas has shot up to about probably 15 cents in the last couple of days. 3.39 is what I paid today. So yeah, the threats to other allies, Finland and Sweden, that's interesting too. And I don't think that, I think he knows if he makes that move that, it's all over but the crying, most likely. This thing is not, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And I would expect that, again, my opinion is every hour it's growing more dangerous. And I'm not trying to stoke fear. I'm not trying to add to the unknowns, but I think that as he needs to, I think he's willing to turn the heat up because he's almost to the point, I think, of no return. He's got a third, or was it 2/3 of his military? No, I'm sorry. I don't remember how many he's got. Somebody said it was a third or a little over, almost half of his military involved in this thing. $3.39 for me, Bill. $3.39 for me, north of Dallas. There you go. But it'd kind of be like, it'd sort of be like, us attacking Canada. What they're doing here, they've got family there, they've got, history there, they've got relatives there, most likely. It's just sort of it's got to be a weird situation for their troops, But it's not like, they don't have access to the West. These people all have, Twitter accounts and, Instagram accounts, and they communicate with people all over the world. It's not like the old Cold War days where you never really got to meet any of these people, they're familiar with the West. They're familiar with the things we have. They're familiar with They probably have friends, you know. Everybody has friends socially, right? Oh, totally, Bill. Totally. Yeah, and like I said before, Christina, until we militarize our border, it's not going to change. So France has just warned everybody in the world to be prepared because NATO's deploying that strike force, reaction force. Like, what is it? 40,000? And not only that, so we're gonna be supplying Ukraine with these additional weapons. NATO is Germany and others. Us. You know, are we going to? Are we airdropping it? Are we landing it and trucking it in? What are we doing? Because last time I checked, uh, Russia had control of the airspace. I mean, am I wrong? Do y'all know something I don't know about that? I mean, if Russia is dumb enough to just allow us to pump ordnance in there and weapons, I don't know, Denise, about that. Hey, Sean. Well, I don't trust them either, Lee. That's for sure. Bunch of crybabies. Well, they got the Foreign Legion anyway. Yeah, you bet, Mountain Grandma. So, what are y'all thinking as far as we're going to be supplying, new hardware and defense items to the Ukrainians? If we don't control the airspace, how are we going to get it there? Are we dropping it in on the border? What are we doing? I don't think we have control of the skies over Ukraine, and I don't think they're going to be nice enough to let us give us a window to swing through and drop anything off. What are y'all thinking about that? So just so we're talking about land convoys and rail. Lee, is that what we're talking about here? Logistically? Yes, I will tell you guys and gals. I have a neighbor that's basically sells missiles for Raytheon, and he said he would definitely be buying Raytheon stock right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I wish I knew what we pumped in there. I'm sure we pumped a bunch of AKs in there and, gave them the small stuff. I know we gave them some uh, anti-tank stuff, javelins and such. Mm-hmm. Totally get it. I mean, Kyiv is like a city of 3 million people. And you're going to march. Apparently, there were Russian soldiers that were being dropped and having to ask for directions on foot how to get to certain places in Kyiv, and they were just arresting them, duh. Hey, happy birthday, dragonflies. Didn't know. But good for them for standing up. But if he drops one of these thermobarics and there are multitudes of them, it's all over but the crying, apparently. Maybe, Denise. I don't know. I mean, you're talking about, dropping ordnance is one thing. You go house to house when it's something you're not used to and terrain you're not familiar with. Man, that's a real dicey situation. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully our intel, huh? I wonder why, hillbilly. Interesting. Agreed, dragonflies. I like that. I like that. Yeah, please everybody check and make sure you're subbed. I've had to check some of mine too, but there's a lot of shenanigans going on, as you know. Mm-hmm. I agree. I had so much medical stuff and meds and over the counter stuff under my little cabinet. I had to go in there this morning and sort of redo everything and reorganize it, repackage it because it was just getting out of control. But I've got me some little shelves in there now, and I've got a better feel of it, and I got a little bit more organization to it, so I can, stack more if I need to, and it's a lot more, laid out. um, but yeah, apparently there's been mass arrests in Moscow and other St. Petersburg, I think, for unlawful assembly, if you will. Um, and then, of course, censoring of the social media. Apparently, there were some Ukrainians posing as, Tinder with Tinder profiles, communicating with Russian soldiers real time, on the battlefield, and they were able to triangulate positions and things like that, and start laying into them, which I thought was really pretty cool, and quite frankly, genius on the Ukrainians' behalf. But what you're going to find out, I think, if you're a Russian soldier involved in this theater of operations, you're going to find out you're going to be stuck in an insurgency if you're not careful. And having them being able to knock down those two transport aircraft is huge. Yeah, that's true, Goblin. Oh, there's no question. Being the corruption that runs deep in Ukraine politics for sure. And I'm sure that I still am a firm believer that we have incoming cyber on the way. I don't think that I don't think it's even really started yet for here. Man, I've been saying that for a long time, Liberty. They're going to do what they got to do to keep mail-in voting in place. It's funny. Yeah, I believe it, Liberty. Like I said, you shut down the juice and the water treatment and the refineries, we're dead in the water. We're afloat. We're bailing water. We're treading water. It's horrible. Mm-hmm. Check TNS real quick. See what's up. Bear with me, just doing something real quick. I'm afraid this will cause more shortages. Yeah, please. Hey, Lisa, please put that link up there if you haven't already. I think you did already. Yeah, exactly. Liberty. I know I've talked to y'all about the Spot X. I mean, it's satellite. I'll show y'all again. I've showed it before, but I'll show you again. Um, baby right here. So like a BlackBerry, you communicate actually on the device itself, or you can Bluetooth your cell phone to it and use your cell phone. But it's text only, it's not voice. They run about $250. Of course, there's a subscription fee for it. So, I mean, if you can't pay the money, it won't work, I guess. But the beauty of it is you can actually text on the device and go device to device. So if you and your family each, or a distant family each had one of these, you can communicate directly back and forth as long as the satellites work. But of course, I got CB and little two-way radios as well. But thanks, Lisa. It's funny, you see all these people lined up at Starbucks, worried about getting their cake pops and lattes, and it's like, do you have any idea what the hell's going on in the world? My God. Mm-hmm. Hey, fortunate to be saved. Good to see you. I don't know if I've seen you here before, but thanks for showing up. I was talking to a guy at the oil change place today, and he was saying they're still having trouble getting certain lubricants. But yeah, all these people just are kicking the can down the road, eking their way through life and worried about their priorities, lattes and cake pops. And it's going to be, if it hits, I'm telling you what, people, it's going to be an absolute, it's going to be pandemonium. There you go, little boots. I agree. They don't. Mm-hmm. That's right, hillbilly. They get them all. But yeah, off the wall is right. Don't rest on the fried rice and the lead variety, because uh, if this thing keeps heating up, you're going to start seeing less and less product. Hmm. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think I'm off base with thinking Vlad's too he's in too deep to turn back? Do y'all think he'll dump some heavier ordnance on the situation to quell any unrest or resistance, or let his guys sling it out on the street? What do y'all think? Sorry, I'm looking at TNS. Almost 3,000 anti-war protesters have been detained in Russia since Thursday. It says Belarus may have been also disconnected from SWIFT due to their support to Russia. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Yeah, and they've got all our level, or either ransacked or leveled all of our, or ransacked and leveled all of our DoD biolabs there, apparently. Yeah, I'm totally not discounting the China connection in this at all. They were lurking in the background and probably doing things. Yeah, well, they call their thermobaric bomb the father of all bombs. What's France doing? Running their mouth again? The Russian army has deployed the TOS-1 heavy flamethrower, which shoots the thermobaric rockets south of Belgorod. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we get all these, defensive weapons into Ukraine. It's going to be interesting to see how that happens. Well, you got that right, Goblin. See you, Shiv. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Another thing too, I'm going to encourage everybody to go get, and that is the Freedom Seed dispensers from your local stores. If you can get your hands on them, I wouldn't necessarily go online for them right now if you didn't have to, but if you go to Academy, at least in my area, they're actually still very plentiful for a lot of different types of dispenser or firearms. Yeah, you got that right. It'll be interesting to see if that ever comes to a negotiation point. I mean, maybe Ukraine ends up getting some of their juice back, and maybe says, "No, we're just going to kill everybody you got here. Anybody that's left's getting killed." I don't think the Russian military has any stomach for getting bogged down in a resistance guerrilla war in their neighbor's country. They thought they were going to lay down and just lay on their back, take it. That's what they thought. So the choices are: does he just let his guys? Does Putin just let his guys stay in there and get hammered with bad optics and bad reports back home on the news, or does he dump some heavy duty ordnance in there to quell everything and put people on their knees? Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm not sitting here saying that there's not some, you know, definitely some underlying issues going on for sure. But I'm not sure. All I know is that when you start throwing ordnance around and you've got a lot of deep pockets in Europe and Eastern Europe, and a lot of mob, it's going to be affected. A lot of treasure, it's going to be affected. Things could heat up quite rapidly. Yeah, and that's another point. You know how we wanted to evacuate the Ukrainian president. He was like, "No, I'm good." God, yeah, poor Israel. Tell you what, Iran better watch their ass. I'm a firm believer that Israel is going to have to level every one of their facilities over there. They're just going to have to do it. There's no choice. But now Israel has a weak leader and probably has them, in a horrible situation. See you, CJ. Oh, there's no question Ukraine's a cesspool. There's no question. And they've always been, a cesspool for underhanded activities, nefarious activities. It's sort of, I guess, probably a what do you call it, a hub, like some of you have probably said about with illegal activity, human trafficking, drugs, money laundering, etc. I'm quite sure of that. And the fact that Potato offered their president a free ride out of there, it's probably a smart move on his behalf to stay put, because he's sitting on all the evidence. Just remember, when you have corruption, you got to have two. It's like conspiracy. You got to have, somebody willing to be conspired with and a conspirator. Mm-hmm. He said he didn't need a ride, he needed ammo. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of coded, the way they do it. So you've got to be willing to be exploited and corrupted in order to get, in order to have that occur. So I don't think anybody's saying that Ukraine's clean here. But, for the people to stand up and be willing to sling it out in the urban areas is pretty cool, I think, for their own, it may end up proving to be, not enough, but at least they're willing to protect their families. everybody else in the world has probably had a hand in helping Ukraine be corrupt. Obviously, Potato and his family are knee deep in the place. And I'm not excusing Potato at all in most of this, and I think he does have some serious nefarious activities happening on his behalf currently in Ukraine. And the one thing that really bothers me about him, well, there's a lot that bothers me about him, but one of the main things is that the stupid son of a bitch is always grinning on camera about the situation. I agree, Goblin, for sure. But what's going to end up happening is if we don't militarize the border, our own border, it's not ever going to change. They just don't want the border to be secured. That's just all there is to it. Hey, Grace. Snuck in here on me. I didn't see you. I didn't see it, Lisa, but I heard about it. Yeah, they do. But with mail-in voting, yeah, it's all a bunch of, it's all funny money. Well, I mean, as far as I know, Christina, he's got them down there on the border. That's a long ass border, though. I don't think we need active duty military on the border, not just National Guard. I think you need professional soldiers. I'm not saying they got to be shoulder to shoulder, but I think you need one every 400 or 500 meters. Yeah. You've got to allow the, sleeper cells to reconstitute themselves here with a porous border that's easy to do. Hell, then they give them a ride to wherever they want to go on our dime. Well, I know a guy that lived here in America all his life, paid taxes, and he was illegal, and he didn't even know. He was one of these dreamers, that was brought here as a young kid. Didn't even know really how to speak much Spanish, and hell, they deported his ass. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I understand why people want to. I know that why they want to come here, and I don't disagree for the reasons they want to come here. But you know what? Uh, Life ain't fair, and just because you have a pulse and breathe air doesn't mean you get to come to America. And sometimes you get the short end of the stick, and that's just all you're going to get. And it's just the way life is. Equity ain't got a damn thing to do with it. It's about right and wrong. It's about law-abiding people, and it's about paying taxes. Yeah, we do. We do, Goblin. It's aggravating as hell. Well, you've had Texas militia on the border for years down there. Years. Like 45 said, if you don't get your border secure, you're not going to have a country. Let's see what TNS has got going on here. There we go. But it will definitely be interesting to see if Russia's willing to drop in this ordinance. Hey, Farmer Son, good to see you. Hey, Mary. Interesting to see if Putin's willing to drop this heavy duty ordinance in there. I believe it, Grace. Oh, just like Mexico, Brazil has a huge poor population. I'll be right back, y'all. Got to check something. Sit tight. All right, sorry about that. Damn, Lee, I hate to hear that. Fluids, Lee, fluids. No, you're right. I'm afraid you're right, Hillbilly. Yeah, old Peppermint Patty. She's a real piece of work, isn't she? Yeah, get some vitamin C, Lee. Take some vitamin C. Yeah, I don't have it all out, but it's a good point, and that's the money thing is a huge the money pulling is a huge thing. There's mixed opinions on how much to take out, if any, down to all of it. So people have to use their best judgment. I think it is a risk for sure. I'm a firm believer that you should probably keep at least 3 months salary on hand in cash paper. Well, it's like the untraceability of it too. Well, he's getting Abbott's definitely getting primary to death. You got what, 6 or 8 people running for governor against Abbott. There you go, Okie. Nice. Mm. Yeah, you're probably going to have that with a bartering economy, Liberty. I don't disagree. Yeah, Beta is a real piece of work. I call him Beta. But there's enough Hell, there's enough dipshits in all the big cities in America and Texas to probably turn the tables if we don't wash their ass. I'm not really worried about efficiency, man. Honestly, if I need stuff, I'm just going to try to get stuff. If it comes to that, it is what it is. See you, Bill. Thanks for coming. Y'all check out Hill Country Prepper. He's got a good channel. Yeah, you're right, Mary. Uh, Annie, I like what he says. I like what Huffine is saying. He talks tough. You know, I know that he's worth a lot of money. They're part of that Huffine's Auto Group, and they got their tentacles deep at A&M. But I mean, I don't know much about the guy other than what I've seen on TV. That he's got deep pockets. But I like his style. All right, Christina, see you. Sorry, I'm just catching up on some news. I was going to let everybody know if they are not aware. See you, Liberty. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. I mean, I think if we really have a meltdown, the biggest, one of the best, most valuable things is going to be lead. Lead and brass and things like that. Be sure you're picking up your spent casings, if you're getting pew time on the range. Try to pick up your own casings if you can, even shotgun shell holes. And a lot of it's soft lead, but a lot of the old battery, really all the old car batteries and vehicle type batteries have those lead plates in them, and you can actually melt those down, for the fried rice reloads. Soft lead, like I said, but it's lead just the same. Desperate times call for desperate measures. See you, Liberty. Good discussion. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Liberty. Well, they've got the blueprint now. All they need is mail-in voting, and they can skew any results they want. That's just how it is. And if you people don't think you're going to continue to see mail-in voting from here on out, you're crazy. Remember, remember the two or three words: emergency powers or Emergency Powers Act. Remember that. Just like you have to pass the bill so you can see what's in it. I'm fine with going back to the old dip your thumb in ink thing like they do in the Middle East when you vote. Like any other thing, PNW, let the military fix it. They've got the capacity to deal with it. See you, Liberty. Again, thanks for the discussion. It's been good. There's all kinds of opinions out there, and I welcome all opinions. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with a lot of opinions, and I'm not going to always state my agreement or disagreement on here, but I do read the comments, and I think a lot of them are not out of the question. Opinions are always possibilities, and you just kind of have to look at the real world and read the tea leaves and think about what's most likely to happen. But there's all kinds of nefarious activities and underhanded action going on all the time. It's all about greed and power. But I don't always disagree or agree or disagree on here. I do read the opinions, and that's fine. It's true, Mountain Grandma. We're just not the same world, and much less the same country anymore. It all goes back to greed and power, no matter where you are in the world. But that's why they brought the house down on 45. He was exposing everything, and who the hell does he think he is to, expose the real warts of the political establishment in this country? Shame on, they think he's the outcast. This is why they've completely overreacted and used as a weapon the January 6th issue. They're all filthy animals. I don't trust any of them, and I'm certainly not, uh, going to drink the Kool-Aid from any party. They've all ruined it for me. I'm not buying any of their crap, and I'm the party of me. Well, one thing I know, Farmer Son, if he can't handle a guerrilla war in Kiev, Ukraine, he damn sure can't handle one in the United States. Sorry, turn the news on. Definitely up to no damn good. You got that right, Goblin. Like I said, and many others besides me have said, it's going to have to be burned down and resurrected. It's going to be painful, but preppers have the best chance to endure and survive something like that. And be sure that y'all are stocking the pet foods and all that stuff too, and don't forget like your insecticides and things like that for your pest control. You know, if you do your own pest control at home, or even if you don't, you probably need to go grab a bottle or two of, you know, the home defense stuff or whatever works in your area for pests, you know, getting indoors and cracks and such. Yep. The whole thing is upside down. American, you know, service as far as politics is concerned was never meant to be a full-time job. These scumbags have turned it into a full-time job. It was supposed to be a libertarian method of serving your country as a politician. It was go work in DC for a couple, 2 or 3 days, go back home, do your normal job. You know, in 3 to 6 months, you come back, you do it all again. You keep the business of the country running, but you stay out of people's lives. Hey, Polly. But even being prepped, you know, I mean, you got to be prepped, but you also got to have resupply ability, right? Mhm. Remember, if something breaks, one of the first things you need to do is fill up a bathtub or any other containers you got for water right out of the tap. You also need to have rain catchment, a rain catchment device of some kind. If you've got gutters on your house, you've got a rain catchment device right there. Now you still got to clean and sanitize the water before you consume it. But if you've got gutters and a downspout on your house, you have a rain collection system right there. Tarps are good too. There's all sorts of methods to collect rainwater. Check my email real quick. Sit tight. Well, yeah, like I said, um, you do have to sanitize it. And of course, there may not be any hope for that, but at least you could flush the toilets with it. There's all sorts of filtration methodologies. And anyway, the point of today's, live was just to sort of regroup and talk about what's on the line here. And like many of you already know, uh, desperate times call for desperate measures. We'll see how desperate times become. But lots of stuff happening. So head on a swivel, as always. Some people aren't going to figure it out until they get hit right in the face with it. And then they still probably won't figure it out. So you guys and gals keep doing what you do. I know you're doing as much as you can. And don't waste your time on people that aren't going to help your situation. Use your bandwidth to benefit you and the people that are bought into what you're trying to do. Don't beat your head against the wall. You're doing the right thing. Do what you can do what you can afford. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys and gals around on some other channels here and there. I'll try to check back in sometime this weekend. But with that, everybody keep prepping, stack it deep, and always remember, long live the Republic. Y'all take care now.